Hey, yo, good morning. It's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I do appreciate the support of the channel as always. And if you're looking for other ways to do that, you'll find those down in the description. Today we have Fred. Fred Blocks. Fred, we'll just call him Fred, and Clan GFLC. In his T30 American Tier 9 Heavy. No, it's not a Heavy. Used to be a Heavy. Now it's a TD. Turreted TD. It is a Heavy. It's basically a Tier 9 Heavy for all intents and purposes. And it's a very good tank. Very good. Hits for 750 alpha. Kind of slow. Has an amazing turret. Not much for hull armor. He has spawned into Steeps. And we're going to head over here to the east side. The east side on Steeps. He's got quite the train coming along. One thing I talk about a lot, is go back to base when it's threatened. Or if you win your flank, go back to base. And I talk about it as kind of an analog thing. Win your flank, go back. Base threatened, go back. But there's a lot of nuance in that. So we're going to try to break that down just a little bit. As you can probably guess, that's something like what's going to happen today. In fact, Fred pulls out a pretty close one here. They get well behind, and they win it. But let's talk about that, and we're going to get into a little bit of the nuance stuff about when you go back. If you took that advice, go back to base, to the nth degree, to the most ridiculous level you could, and you get spotted there, that's a nice job. Let's just talk about that for a second before I get to what I was talking about. When you get to this point, there's nobody forward, so he's got his whole team hiding behind the same rock back here. I love it. Anyway, that's fantastic. All right, this is something you're going to have to deal with in this game. Lately, quite a bit. It's always been there, but we've been calling it the COVID Hermit. The COVID Hermit effect. There's just a lot of Camp Alama Ding Dong. Look at all the big TDs on the other side. I didn't really mention what the lineup was, but it's a Tier 10 battle. He's mid-tier with some really big heavy hitters. T95, T30, JT, 110E5, JPZ, holy cow. A T57 that can clip him out. There's all kinds of big guns in this game. So just a YOLO down the middle here, or down the middle of this valley anyway, on the east side of the map is probably not a great idea, right? So he's going to use that great turret, and he's going to take a little peek and see if he gets lit. Good news here is no Arty. You might not want to do that too much with Arty, especially if they start paying attention to you. So he's doing a nice job initially of kind of feeling out what's going on the battle. So that's what I wanted to talk about there. Now back to the going back to base. If you took that to the nth degree, then you might go, just never leave base. I always know my base is going to get threatened, so I'll just sit back there. Because Guido said, always go back to base, so I'll just never leave. I mean, obviously that's not a good plan, right? Obviously that is not a good plan at all. You don't want to do that. So somebody's probably over in the corresponding rock from the south spawn. In fact, the T30 is, and he's hit him for 370. That guy has wisely decided to use HE. Now, I don't know if you noticed the chat down there, but we had some people getting on the ELC even 90s case who is then going to move up here and start scouting out in the open. It's kind of a bush, knocks down some trees, all right. And he's trying to do what he can. I didn't really look at the guy's stats. Probably not a really great player based on what he's doing with the even 90. You can see that the west side has engaged quite a few tanks, but none of their real big ones, although I think the T57 Heavy is buried under the 252U. There you go. So at least one of their Tier 10s is over there. And we don't know what's going on over here yet. We know a T30's there. The only person who really knows that, though, is Fred. He shoots in. I didn't see it hit the ground, but it was pretty far into the bushes. There goes the scout. Holy cow. So they got on his case. He decided to go try. He died. He's not a very good player with not a lot of experience. He might take from that the old stay at the cap. So be careful about, yelling at people. I get it, you want him to scout, but he's just learned a bad lesson, and unfortunately, hopefully he can get over that and move on to being a better player, but that was just not that's not good. The 110E4 is over there, the T30 is there. The Progetto does something up top. Now, he's going to die pretty quickly, but he does do a service for the team. Let's go ahead and watch this. Because where the T30 is, in those bushes, the same thing happens on this side of the map if you're in the bushes right about here. All right, sometimes people creep up into the bushes, but when you start getting mediums trolling around, because of the angle and the look down, they can often light you up in that poor T30. In fact, I think the T30 had backed up into this open spot over here a little bit for some reason. The rock is right there where my cursor is, and he was back over here to the left of it, so he was up and out covered from the bushes from this direction, but up from high, from a little altitude, he was spotted, and he ends up dying, which is good. We got a kill. It's 3-3. And now this is the nuance part. All right, so how's it going? Well, it doesn't look like it's going great over on the other side. They're holding for now. We have a lot of tanks over here, although the AC-48 and the Foch B have sat in the middle. I think they took out the STG that was in the middle. So what do you do with this, right? We don't really have a medium to push out. At least the two Sumas are, one of them, two Sumas are sitting back here. The Centurion is camping. So we have no eyes, and poor Fred's trying to be the eyes. And the last thing he wants to do is come around the corner and eat a shot from either the JPZ or the 110E4. And the 110E4 has already been proven to be up on that hill. So he's just carefully trying to figure out what's going on. And I don't think the JPZ has been seen either. He might be buried under those, but I don't think so. So let's just count noses here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 on the other side. 7 counting the 110E4. 8, 9, 10 counting the 3 dead. That means there's quite a few tanks that are unaccounted for. So just simply driving down this road here, maybe not a great idea, but he's being careful about it. I like this. Let's be a little bit aggressive. There's the JPZ. He just killed the WZ, so clearly he's over on that other side or in the middle somewhere. And that's the kind of SA you want to start picking up. That's the nuance thing I'm talking about. I just noticed that. You go, WZ, where was the WZ? Oh, he was over on the other side. Okay, the JPZ's over there somewhere. And now you can see that he's lit, actually. Yeah, or there's an old light right there next to the JT. So he's over there. All right, that's good. So now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, that's at least 4 of them unaccounted for. It's hard to count down there sometimes. I mean, if we looked at it now, I don't know how many are all on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9, 10, 11, 12. So maybe now there's 3 unaccounted for. So what do we do? Do we push? You could push, I think, on this side if you could get this whole crowd to start moving. But Fred's going to be more cautious and just take a couple pokes. There is something developing in the middle that's interesting, the AC and the Foch, although the Foch is now falling back. The Centurion has left, and one of the Sumas has left to go over to the other side. So now, all of a sudden now, this side does not have the pushing forces that it did before. A very defensive team. And it's... You love to play the map, right? You know how to win the map. You know how to win. Look, he's using the ELC as armor. I didn't notice that. You know, it's not a lot of armor, is it? As far as size goes. You ever notice how a dead tank is completely magically able to stop every shell that ever comes at it, but when it's alive, it can't? It would be pretty cool if shells actually went through tanks that were very thin like that one. Now, Fred is seeing that the other flank is starting to collapse. The enemy team has built a lead 3-6, and he's headed back to try to help. And I think that this is not a bad idea. They haven't necessarily lost this flank. His cap isn't necessarily threatened right now, but based on the forces he has over here, they're not pushing. So there's nothing he can really do other than go out and get hit for 750 by the 110E4 if it's still sitting up there, and whatever 1 or 2 other tanks that are over there. Now, the guys who are holding off the west flank are doing a pretty nice job. They really are. They're causing some damage. When you see the tanks show up, there's going to be a lot of them with not many hit points left. This map has a very good defensive point on both caps. It's high. It has Overwatch over the cap. It has Overwatch over every approach to the cap. It's probably one of the best maps for defending the cap that there is. Because if you get up on the hill here, you can see forever. The south side has multiple positions to defend from. This one has 1 or 2. One good one up here, which is where Fred's going, with the trees or with the bushes and the rock, and then one less good one right here, where a scout or a medium can do some good work spotting, but there's no cover once you get spotted. So they're going to go ahead and head up here. Down goes the 263, and we've got a 5-8 situation. Centurion dies, 5-9. And the flank has collapsed. Now, that early decision, I think, was the right one, absolutely, because he's got a slow tank, and it was going to take him a while to get there. The Foch B is just firing away at somebody. And now Fred has taken up this position with the Foch B with the great name, Lonely Wife. Now, is that because his wife is lonely, or is that actually the lonely wife who got tired of the guy playing video games and went ahead and got an account? I don't know, but Lonely Wife does some good work. Got a 252U coming in. we've got an IS-3. Now look how few hit points all these guys have. The Suma did its best, but it's about to get swarmed and dead. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit about mechanics for you here, Fred. A lot of missed opportunities, and I think it has to do with a little bit of anticipation and a lot of rocking back and forth and things. I'll try to cover them as we go, but as I saw those icons moving through the rocks, I would look for and expect for them to uncover about right here. Now, that was going to be a very fleeting shot, but it was there, right? And there's nothing else in town going on, so I think I would have sat there and waited for that icon, something about zoomed in about here or here. Put that pipper there, let it zoom in, and just take that little snap-a-lama ding-dong at him, and see if you can't hit him as he's crossing. Now the IS-3 is about to do the same thing. Oof! See that? See how he was moved? Oh, where'd it go? Oh, geez. Oh, boy. Now we can't see it. Oh, are we going to be able to? Nope, can't because you are... Oof. Well, he stopped, but we didn't stop and wait, right? I think some anticipation on your part on where they're going to be and where your lines of fire are going to be would be very helpful. Now, this guy, is he going to come up and over? He sure does. Again, missed opportunity. So we're going to come in here and take a little snap. Bounced. But the Foch does a nice job hitting him. Now, the Foch gets lit. It's going to be very difficult for two tanks to use this spot. I like what the Foch is doing. He's just going to go finish off the WZ because he really can't allow him to sit there. The strength of this point is that nobody gets up underneath you guys and gets you lit and then shredded. I mean, look at this. We've got a 5 to 10 situation. Unknown where the lagging guys are. These guys kind of push in, and the WZ, I think, thought he'd just start the collapse, but the poor dude gets weeded out of there by the Foch. Down goes the IS-3, and all of a sudden it's 7 to 10. The object is on very few hit points as well. So he dies. All of a sudden it's 8 to 10. All right, so some things are afoot. We are defending nicely. All right, nuance stuff. Now we look at this and go, okay, we've evened this thing up. What's the rest of the enemy team doing? Are they actually continuing to push, or have they fallen back? That's going to be the question right now. And at some point, you're going to want to start pushing out and looking to take down stragglers and isolate guys. That's what you should be thinking about right now. What happens often, though, in this situation, especially with TD players, is they will just continue to sit here and hope that the enemy team feeds them. Good news is the enemy team feeds you on this one quite a bit. I think I would have come off of this hill, and that might have been a mistake. So let's see what happens here. Now there's the Bat Chat. He's raging around. We come around. We're looking for him. And we don't see him. Now, you do a lot of very third-person firing, like a half zoom. I know there's a lot of debate on which one is better. Down goes the JT. I think in some cases you could zoom more. Reference my discussion earlier about aiming at open spots when you know they're going to come through. All right, I wanted to talk about this. So we see him, but there's a Bat Chat coming in. I would have absolutely prioritized the Bat Chat. The Bat Chat's your biggest problem. He comes in with a clip, jumps all over your Suma, and takes him down. Then you've got trouble, especially if he's up and over and inside right here, starts lighting you up, and all the rest of the guys with all their shots start hitting you. I would expect to get lit by this guy as he comes in, but what's interesting is what happens here is you're going to not shoot him. You bounce, and you don't get lit, which blows my mind. Maybe you were double bushed by the tree or one of those other bushes, and this is exactly what you don't want to have happen is this Bat Chat getting up underneath here. You've got to be watching the minimap because all of a sudden the JT is now a factor over here. He's coming in. The Foch is up on the track. So one thing you want to do while you're on a reload, especially with a long reload like this tank, is look around. What's going on? All right, I see the JT, but he's not uncovered from the rocks. I know the T-95 is probably with him. Where's that T-57? He's a problem because he's an autoloader. We're at 8 to 11. It's looking better than it was, but we got a lot of work to do right here. And so during this whole time while we're reloading, we're just kind of staring at this guy. And I thought you were going to take that shot. But we switch over, and the 110E4 makes himself available. Oh, geez. And then we change our mind, and then, oh, geez. Some lost opportunities there, right? Not quite fully zoomed. RNG took over. Now we finally get lit. I was sort of surprised you didn't take all kinds of fire right here, but nobody was really in position. The 57 Heavy was thinking about it, I think, but then he saw the Foch turning on him. I wasn't paying attention to the Foch. I don't know what his situation is vis-a-vis ammo. Miss right there. I think that deserved a closer aim as well. 2 of them go down. Holy cow. We're at 11 to 11. All right, there's the Scorpion. Now, that's great, and you will have a shot, but I don't know if I care about him right now. I think what I want to do is get rid of this JT. And we're going to see that you actually have some shots on him right here when you back out. We're going to third person. We're just going to wait locked into where he was. And I think you hit him, but I'm not sure. Looks like where he was. And when we back out here, this JT, I think you had shots on him because look at this. I mean, the superstructure is strong, but you're looked down, and you got a pen for days on this thing. I think we get rid of this JT before we worry too much about that Scorpion right there. And to some extent, this is just you paying attention to the mini-map that I've noticed several times on this particular one. The Foch is going to come down here and proxy light him, which is really nice. There we go. And he backs out. Yes. Take a little snap of llama, miss him. Really surprised you didn't get spotted by that again. I mean, how bad is that JT's crew? The spotting point's on the front of the gun, right? I don't know. I have no idea how. We did not get spotted there. There's the... Holy cow, there's 3 of them, but they're all beat up. They're all beat up. And that Foch is just looking for somebody to kill one somewhere along the way. And this guy makes a big mistake. But you miss. Oh, jeez. Again, that's that whole aiming thing. As he was coming out, I think you just rushed the shot. If you just had your pipper a little to the right where he was going to clear, I think you had that guy. But the JT dies anyway. Fochby comes up and over and starts doing some work. 57 is a one-shot to the Fochby. Fochby took some hits. What he doesn't want to do is get up and over, get tracked, and then clipped out by that guy. So he's really just trying to mess with him. All right. Remember when I talked about when you think about pushing, this was definitely the time, and I think you're finally doing it. But as soon as that last guy was dead and was only the 57 in the Foch, I'd have been barreling off this hill. You're eventually going to think about it, but the Fochby, there we go. So it should have been more immediate than that. The advantage was created. The Scorpion was sitting in the back. He wasn't going to get a shot on you anyway. Blaze down there, and what you want to do is isolate guys. Help your team isolate guys that are alone. Take them down and then work through it like Pac-Man, taking those guys out as you go. And we're just going to speed this up. So we've got 1,700 damage, 834 assist. We've got a kill. Fochby went crazy. I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up. The Scorpion does the right thing and fades to the back. And I don't know if we're going to see the hit points on him because I think he dies before you can actually get any kind of light on the dude. Maybe. Let's see if you hit him because he was full hit points. Yep, looks like it. Looks like you did slap him with that shot, so I guess your damage is probably closer to 2,500, something like that. We'll see it on the card when we get back. Nice game, man. I thought it was a good decision to go back. You worked with what you had over on the east side. There wasn't much. The scout didn't help you out. The mediums weren't doing medium things. And then a lot of your help just sort of faded back the other way. You noticed that. You get back there in time. Did a nice job working that bush up there. The only thing I would say is your shot selection on occasion needed a little bit of tuning and maybe just a little bit more anticipation of where guys are going. I do this a lot with the icons moving. I try to project where that dude is going, right? So in the case of the JT and the IS-3 that went through there, I know that opening's there. I see them moving that direction. I assume they're attempting to get up under the tracks. So that's an area I'm going to concentrate on and look for a shot there. Try to take one of those guys out. And just a little bit more anticipation on your part. You did start to move down and help the Foch, but I would say it was probably 15, 20, 30 seconds too late. Not too late as in you lost the game, but later than it should have been. So it's just speeding up all of the process, right? Speeding up, taking in the information from the mini-map, speeding up, taking in the information on what's in front of you, just where you're viewing, and then reacting slightly faster. But that's how you get better and better at the game as you start to work on that. So thanks for sending that in. I appreciate it. It was nice to talk a little bit more about some of the nuanced stuff about going back and how you do it. That's all I've got for today, guys. We will see ya.